Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome to 10 important things to know before visiting London. Now obviously I've been doing Canada and the US, but now I just want to move on to London, know what I need to know before going. So let's just see what she has to say.
Coming to London for the first time, I have 10 important tips you should know before you get here. Save yourself a little bit of embarrassment and make your trip to London easier. Number one, the Brits drive on the left side of the road.
Of course.
Now, if you're not driving when you're in London, this may not seem like it's a big deal, but actually when you're crossing the street, that is when it's the scariest.
Oh, really?
Luckily, the smarties here in London put markings on the ground at every single crossing, telling you literally if you should look left or if you should look right.
Yes, exactly. Look at that. Look right. I mean, why would you be looking right? I mean, I feel as though that's going to be quite an American thing, because if you're in the UK, you're going to be looking left to see if there's any cars coming first. No. What am I talking about? Yes, because they're driving on the left side of the roads, you're going to be looking right and whatnot. And so, yeah, I guess for me, that certainly wouldn't be a problem, because obviously Australia also drives on the left, and so it's no big deal. It's certainly not going to be a thing that I have to worry about and go, oh no, this is going to be a little bit weird. I'm sure if the roles actually were reversed, then it would be a completely different story. But also, I'm fairly sure that this kind of thing also impacts other things, you know. Maybe she'll talk about it, but realistically, you know, when people drive on the left, they generally walk on the left, and so when you're driving on the right, you generally walk on the right. And so don't get kind of mixed up about, okay, I should be going up the left side of the escalator, because no, it's going to be on the right side, or whatever it may be, depending on which country as well.
So make sure when you're going to cross the street, you look down to see which way you should look so you don't get run over by a car. Number two, there are some names and words that are not pronounced as they're spelled. So these are the ones you should know and that you'll probably use. Number one, most popular place for tourists to go in London is called Leicester Square, not Leicester.
Oh, why are people saying it like Leicester? I mean, I guess I can understand phonetically maybe, but come on, surely everyone's heard of Leicester Square. I mean, maybe in America you don't really hear that British pronunciation too much, because I certainly know that in Australia we get a whole bundle of British influence. I mean, to be honest, Australia has a whole bundle of places that no one else would probably be able to pronounce either, but no, Leicester, it just sounds wrong.
Leicester Square. There's also Greenwich, which is a popular area for people to visit too.
Like Greenwich Mean Time as well?
Westminster, not Westminster. There's no extra I in there. Westminster.
Yes. I mean, for that one, it's just not actually just reading it correctly, for goodness sake.
This one, Buckingham Palace. So it looks like it's Buckingham Palace, but it's actually pronounced Buckingham. And lovely brown. My English husband told me I should include this one. Buckingham Palace. So
I'm trying to break it down. So Buckingham instead of Buckingham. It is certainly a little bit more of a subtle difference compared to some of the other ones like Leicester Square or whatever she said.
So it looks like it's Buckingham Palace, but it's actually pronounced Buckingham.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. You just don't have to put the emphasis on the ham, you know. It's just Buckingham instead of Buckingham at the end. It's not a ham at the end. It's just all one word.
And that lovely brown river that runs through London is called the Thames, not the Thames. The Thames River. I know, I got them all wrong when I first got here too, but now you know. If you decide to go to the pub and order yourself a beer or a cider, which I definitely recommend you do, you'll need to order by the pint. This is what a pint glass looks like. It's about 20 ounces of drink. If you order a drink from the tap, they're gonna ask you, do you want a pint or a half pint?
Yeah, like I just said, what the hell does America do? Because I don't really know any other way to measure it. I mean, maybe I guess if it was in liters, but obviously America isn't going to be doing it in liters or anything, or milliliters. So I wonder what they do. Do they do it in ounces? Because that just seems completely ridiculous if you ask me. Like, who's going to be measuring liquid in ounces for beer? Like, oh God, I don't even want to know, I think. Because sometimes they're just so backwards, you just have to go, what are you talking about? You still use that random metric. I mean, it's kind of like the UK and stone, to be honest.
A half pint is obviously half the size of a pint. Remember that a lot of English beers and ciders are stronger than beer in America.
That's probably because beer in America is, I can only assume, like 50% sugar.
So just be careful when you're drinking. When you go to a restaurant in London, when you get the bill, double check to see if there was a service charge added onto it. Usually this is around like 12.5%. If there was a service charge added, don't worry about tipping on top of that. If there's no service charge, then tip between 10 and 15%. The service.
What? I mean, no, that just get rid of the entire tips altogether. I mean, you can certainly just choose to tip, but like I've said in Australia, I mean, I can only assume that Britain's going to be pretty similar, because generally Europe's pretty similar to Australia because we're so influenced by it. I can only assume that it's going to be pretty normal for people to not tip. I mean, obviously, if you want to tip, to go for it. No one's going to be saying no to money if you want to give it to them, but overall, it's not like a thing where you go, okay, well, if there isn't a service charge on my bill, well, then I guess I just have to tip and it's 10 to 15%. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, obviously the UK and Britain could be a little bit different to Australia, but I feel as though generally from what I've heard it's very, very similar. And so overall, you're not going to be kind of forced to pay the entire tip just on top, unlike America, which is one of the only places in the world that still tips, or at least kind of needs to tip to be able to keep people alive and paying their bills.
Don't worry about tipping on top of that. If there's no service charge, then tip between 10 and 15%.
I just don't know what to say.
The service charge isn't mandatory, but you would only not pay it if your service was really terrible.
Wow,
Use the Citymapper app to get yourself around London. This app is amazing, is what I think every single local Londoner uses. It's better than Google Maps because it gives you a million different options of which ways you can go. There's even rain-safe options, so options that mean that you'll be out of the rain as much as possible, which is great when you're in London because it rains all the time. So
that's crazy. Rain-safe options. It's like, no, I don't want to go by car. I don't want to go by taxi. I don't want to go by train or walk. No, I actually want to walk, but in a car, but rain-safe option. Like, how many options can you be having? I mean, obviously in the city it's going to be fairly easy because you can kind of just dart between buildings and you've got awnings and all those kind of things, but to actually have that as an option, that's insane. I mean, that certainly sounds like a pretty cool map. What was it called? City Planner, I believe. And yeah, if we come back here, you can see that, oh my goodness, it tells you like the calories. It also tells you the cost of the taxi and then all the different things. Like you take the tube and all the buses. My goodness, that is very, very broken down. And so, wow. I mean, I'm certainly not surprised that I haven't seen it before because obviously I don't live there, but at the same time, that sounds like an insane map. And I don't really feel as though I've ever heard of a city having something that is that broken down and those many options. That's incredible.
So if you're trying to get from point A to point B and you have some Wi-Fi or 3G, use Citymapper. It'll tell you all the routes to get there. It'll even tell you how much it's going to cost you. England uses the pound as its currency. 100 pence or 100p makes up £1.
Nice and
if you ever hear someone saying quid, quid is just like a slang word for pound, kind of like how we use buck in the States.
Now, stopping you right there, I'm a little bit confused because obviously it's all correct, but at the same time, why is it on a list? I mean, perhaps some people are thinking that London and England's going to be using the euro and whatnot, but overall, surely if you're going to be going to a country, you know what kind of currency they're going to be using. I mean, yeah, like I just said, maybe you're going to be going, oh crap, I have euros, but I'm fairly sure they might even accept euros, or maybe not. I'm not entirely sure, but realistically, it doesn't take away from my confusion because that's like saying, oh, did you know that the United States uses the US dollar? Wow, what the hell?
The smallest note you can get is £5.
Yes.
There's no £1 note here, just so you know. And coins come in £2, £1, 50p, 20p, 10p, 5p, 2p, and 1p.
2p and 1p. Wait a second, they still have 2p and 1p? They still have, well, I mean, especially 1p. Like Australia doesn't even have anything below 5 and they have 2 and 1. That's insane. I mean, I guess the pound is a little bit more than the Australian dollar, but there is no way that it is 5 times more. And so how the hell are they still using 1 and 2p? That's insane. I mean, obviously also they had what, 5, 10, 20, 50, 1 and 2. So we've got all the rest of them. We just kind of ditched the 1 and 2 cents ages ago though.
London, you must get an Oyster card. There are two different types of Oyster cards that you can get. One is called a visitor's Oyster card. You can only get this if you order it ahead of time. Get it delivered to your house. Or you can get a regular...
Delivered to your house? What do you mean? How are you meant to give it delivered to your house if you're just visiting? What, you just like send it to the hotel? What are you talking about? Let me just
card. There are two different types of Oyster cards that you can get.
Two different types. I want to see that card because that looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously that kind of reminds me of Melbourne's card a lot because Melbourne has the Mikey card and obviously New South Wales has the Opal card. I don't really know what Queensland or the rest of them have. I don't really know if they even have touchless and transactions like that. And also, I'm not sure about Melbourne, but I know in Sydney you can even just use a credit card or debit card or anything like that. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be two different ways, but that card looks pretty cool if nothing else.
One is called a visitor's Oyster card. You can only get this if you order it ahead of time. Get it delivered to your house.
What do you mean?
Or you can get a regular Oyster card, which you can pick up at tons of shops around London. You can get at the airport and get them anywhere. To use either of these Oyster cards, you need to top them up, which means that you add credit to the card. As you start to use the underground and the bus system, your credit will decrease and you have to top it up more and more.
So what you're saying is not just a completely free card? What the hell? What do you mean you have to top it up? Of course you have to top it up. I mean, I can only assume that London's entire system, whether it be the underground or whatnot, is going to be very, very simple. You know, like I said, Australia has a very similar system and you can go like basically an ATM vending machine looking thing and then you can put it in and then pay for it that way. Or really, I'm fairly sure you can even link them to your entire kind of online account and just pay or top it up that way as well.
Traveling a lot, having an Oyster card is really good because the rates are a lot cheaper than if you paid cash. And they have a daily cap, which means once you've reached a certain amount of money that you've spent, that's it. Cool. And the rest of your travel is free for the day.
Yeah, nice.
On the visitor Oyster card, it's £6.40, and on a regular Oyster card, it kind of varies. It's around £7. So the only thing is that
to what? Like to go 1 station, to go 10 stations? What are you talking about? £7. £7 though. That's the most confusing part because if it's £7 to go just like anywhere flat out, that's completely ridiculous. So no one should be catching the train then. You might as well just own a car. I mean, I know owning a car in London is very, very expensive, but for £7 for whatever it is, that's insane. Like you can catch a train for like 20 cents, 50 cents, maybe $1 or $2 if you're going a little bit further, $2.50 even, but that can literally just virtually get you anywhere in Sydney. And so to be paying £6.40 or £7+ pounds, like that's like $10 to $15. $200. What the hell are you doing? That is just insane. That's almost as like Sydney toll prices, for goodness sake. You might as well just drive for that rate.
That if you're going to be in London for a week and traveling a lot, you might find that it's actually cheaper to get a 7-day travel card, which you can just put right onto your Oyster card. So I'll leave some links down in the description to help you decide which is going to be the best option for you. Take the bus when you can. Those classic English double-decker buses are really fun to ride around on if you can grab a seat on the top, and especially in the front of the bus. It's really cool.
But at the same time, London is always raining, and so no one ever really sits up there unless they've just got ponchos on and things like that, because who would just want to be sitting in the rain? I mean, maybe that's just why it's always so good, because just no one's up there to bother you.
And you'll get to see London from a whole new angle, and it only costs you £1.50. To get on a bus...
What? So why the hell then is the train so bloody expensive? To be able to get a bus, which I would generally think is going to be more expensive in terms of running costs and fuel costs, and just generally I would think that a bus is going to be more expensive. Why the hell is the train so expensive? And really, even though all the buses are generally going to be just packed with tourists, I can only imagine, at the same time, I guess for £1, you might as well just jump on and go anywhere.
All you have to do is tap your Oyster card at the front of the bus, and that's it. You don't have to tap out. If you want to take a bus, use your City Mapper app and see what the best route is and where the nearest bus station is. If you need to change your cash into pounds, then you'll probably get the best rate at the post office. There are plenty around. Just look for this little red sign that's popping up here, or look on Google Maps and you'll be able to find plenty of them. Be careful taking black taxis, and I say this because they can be really expensive, and they get really expensive without you noticing. So if you're going a long distance or it's rush hour, I wouldn't take a black taxi. You'll see the meter go up and up and up, and you won't be able to do anything about it.
No, unless you just like, let me out right now, because obviously even when they're just sitting in traffic, they're just raking up that bill. And so yeah, obviously black cabs can be very, very expensive. And also, what was the other thing she said?
That's popping up here.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Obviously we've got this post office. That post office kind of reminds me of Australians one. And I guess that certainly comes back to the fact that like she was saying, oh, well, I guess, you know, make sure you have pounds on you if you're going to be carrying cash, because they don't really, well, that's, I guess, their main currency. And so there you go. I mean, obviously you're going to have to go to the post office to be kind of dealing with the money, but at the same time, you know, if that's the best rate, then that's the best rate.
If you absolutely can't take public transport, I use Uber all the time. I think Uber's amazing. If you haven't used it before, it's an app where you can call a car right to where you are. And
when the hell was this video made? 2015. Oh wow, okay then. I can certainly understand why she'd be going, okay, Uber, use Uber, because that's insane. I mean, I wonder if anything of these things have changed in what, 6 years, but no, Uber has definitely just would have taken over the entire market, because man, if taxis are that expensive like they are in Australia as well, you just definitely got to be wanting to use Uber, because it's like, oh yeah, cool, it's going to be between like, I don't know, $20 and $30 compared to like $80 if you take a taxi.
And they usually show up really quickly, especially if you're in central London. They're all over the place. It's also really good if you don't have cash on you. Some black cabs don't take cash, but Uber, it just connects right to your credit card. If you want to try out Uber for the first time, I'll put a promo code down in the description so you can try it out for yourself. So
I can't believe we're talking about trying out Uber for the first time. I mean, I certainly haven't taken that many Ubers, but at least I certainly know about it. It's not like, okay, I have to be explained to me, where she's actually going, oh, it's kind of this new thing. And so it's just dating the video. I mean, it's not even that long ago. Like I said, it's 6 years ago. But the fact that she's going, oh, do you know about this new thing, Uber? That's just crazy. It's just, I'm like, what? It's always been around.
So those are 10 important things you should know before you come to London for the first time. Do you have a question about something that maybe I didn't cover? Write any questions down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Lots more London tips and tricks coming up soon, as well as other stylish travel tips.
That's going to be the end of the video. My goodness, that was just insane. There were so many random things. I mean, I just completely blown away by Uber stealing, but no, like even the fact that it was like the trains are what, £7, so I just can't get over that either. And so yeah, obviously every single video that we watch, you're just kind of gathering all this information going, oh cool, oh wow, oh well, what the hell? And so then from there you just get this really, I guess, overall just well-rounded opinions and views about the entire thing, and like, okay, maybe I want to tip, maybe I don't, maybe I want to take the train, maybe I don't, or even just the fact that you're just pronouncing things like Leicester Square or Leicester Square incorrectly. And so yeah, obviously there were just so many different things, and it was a great little video. But anyway, in saying that, I reckon I'm gonna call it there. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Also, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, then make sure to check out some of the other ones we've done. You know, like I said, we've done Canada, we've done the US, and then also make sure to check out the original video in the description below. Or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so that you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.